So before we start, I want to congratulate Gary Payton. I think you guys just got word that he received the Bob Lanier Community Assist Award, specifically for his work with kids with dyslexia, which Gary struggled with and had to deal with during his childhood. So we're all thrilled for Gary. We just had a great presentation, from the league and from one of the young guys who Gary has worked with. It's really amazing stuff. And so we're incredibly proud of Gary and everything he's done, obviously on the court, but in the community as well. So it's beautiful, beautiful stuff. Maddie?
Speaking of Gary, what was he able to do at practice today? Same with Otto and Andre. What's the updates with them?
So Gary, Andre, and Otto all took part fully in practice today. We didn't do a live scrimmage, but we did kind of scout team work, half court, offense and defense. So it was definitely, work that was ramped up, and it seems like everybody got through it well, but we'll know more tomorrow, and then we'll have another practice tomorrow, and we'll do some contact work tomorrow, and we'll have a better sense of where they all are after tomorrow.
So I think you said yesterday was the hard scrimmage, basically, and kind of tapering down from there, essentially.
Tapering down today, more game planning, strategic stuff. Tomorrow, our performance team wants our guys to get up and down the floor a little bit. I mean, you always have to navigate these breaks wisely. You can't do too much and somebody gets hurt, but you've got to maintain rhythm and conditioning. So that's the plan for tomorrow.
Just a specific thing. Has Gary can he shoot left-handed? I mean, is he fully active with that left hand?
He has extended his range over the last week or so, and so that's part of what he'll be doing tomorrow, and as we determine whether he'll be able to play.
Just how rewarding is it to kind of gotten to know Gary the person these past few years, and to see an award like this? Obviously, it clearly means a lot to you guys as a franchise.
Yeah, it's Gary's had a really interesting path to this point. He's bounced around, I think, six or seven different NBA teams. He's played in the G League, but he's found a home here on the floor, just with his play, but also off the floor with his community work. And so it's just great to see someone who has been so diligent and resilient, to see all that work pay off. And now he's put himself in a position where he's going to be able to dictate some terms this summer for the first time in his career, in terms of his next contract. And could not be happier for him in that regard. He absolutely has earned every bit of what's coming.
And with that, I mean, obviously the stars take the headlines, but have you been able to reflect on how you guys were able to bring in guys like Gary and Andre, Otto, Bielitsa, all on these kind of contracts that you did in the offseason?
Yeah, I think the front office really had a great last summer, just in terms of the draft and free agency. And, no surprise, honestly, this has been, just phenomenal front office over the years. The planning, the hitting on a lot of picks. And, you think about getting Looney at 30 and Jordan at 28, Draymond at 35. Like this doesn't happen. And I think at the bottom of the first round, if I'm not mistaken, it's about a 10% chance that guys actually make it in the league for an extended period of time. So we've had multiple guys in that draft area not only make it, but make huge contributions to the team and become foundational pieces. So our front office deserves a ton of credit for that. And I think the free agent signings this summer were really smart in terms of fitting our style, fitting our personnel, and rounding out the roster really well.
Steve, obviously, I would assume that circumstances will dictate how much maybe Moody and Kuminga will play, but how much can they benefit as two lottery picks being in the finals? How much can they benefit from just being here and this experience, even if they don't play?
Yeah, I mean, even James Wiseman, who won't play, but for them to feel this, just to experience the preparation that goes into the playoffs, it's so different from the regular season. The amount of focus on your opponent, just the different vibe in the arena. It's really crucial for all those guys to feel it. And obviously, JK and Moses have both played significant minutes, which can only help. But to go through it, especially with the veteran mentors they have on the team to guide them, just massive experience for them that will pay off big time down the road.
When you drafted those two, have you exceeded the expectations of what you and Bob and maybe the front office thought of what they could gain from learning from Steph, Draymond, and Clay, and now having this type of experience, this type of postseason run this early in their careers?
I think I wouldn't say it's exceeded expectations. I think probably met them. I think everybody knows, we were embarking this year on a pretty ambitious plan to try to contend and still, raise several lottery picks who, hadn't proven anything yet. And so to be able to do both of those things, I think this was maybe about how I expected it might play out, with JK and Moses being in and out of the rotation all year, finding a lot of success and then struggling at times. And I think that's sort of what you might guess would happen. But to be able to do that and still compete at a really high level with your other guys, it's a pretty unique accomplishment. So it's a definitely a source of pride organizationally, and got a lot of work to do. Not only obviously trying to win this series, but going forward, nothing is guaranteed for those players. But we like their potential, we like their work ethic, and we like the experience they've gained to this point.
Do you believe you have a team of veterans and youngsters? There still seems to be, obviously, because Boston hasn't been here, sort of a narrative that you guys are the old team that's been around the establishments, and they are sort of the young upstarts. What do you think of that whole narrative? Do you think it's fair? Do you think what do you think of it?
When you push the button, did the mic actually work, or did you just talk louder?
There we go. There it goes.
There we go. It felt like you just didn't do anything, and then you started projecting your voice, and it was like
I projected.
it worked out perfectly. Yeah, I think obviously we have finals experience, 5 years of it for Steph, Clay, Andre, Draymond. I think 4 years of it for Loon. I think that matters. Boston is hardly a young team, so just because they haven't been to the finals doesn't mean they don't have experience. I mean, you look at I think Al Horford has played in 150 playoff games or something. Their core group of Marcus Smart, Jason, Jalen, been in the conference finals 4 of the last 6 years, something like that. 3 of the last 5. I don't know exactly, but point is they've all played a bunch of playoff games. So they're not a young team. They're an experienced team. Been through an awful lot, not only in this postseason, but the last several years. And so to me, it's really two very experienced teams going head to head.
And though you don't know what's going to happen beyond this year, is there a part of you that's able to sort of savor the core 5 that you mentioned, Draymond, Steph, Clay, Andre, and Loon?
Say it again?
Is there a party that can just savor this season for those 5 guys, not knowing what the future holds?
Favored them and what do you mean?
Said
by-
savor,
Oh, savor.
savor
Yeah, yeah.
them, you're having them around, not
Oh,
knowing what
yeah,
the future
yeah.
holds.
Yeah, no, I've savored this season really throughout, just being able to work with the whole group, seeing the young guys develop. So many great individual stories. Looney really emerging, not only in a healthy way, but becoming an elite rebounder and somebody who could have a huge impact on games. Mentioned Jordan, mentioned the rookies. And then the Clay coming back. There's been so many great storylines to this season, and for things to have worked out in the playoffs where we've, for the most part, gotten our key guys healthy. We've still had some absences, but we never really had the combination that we really wanted to see in the regular season. We never got to that. So to be able to finally get to that in the postseason and have some success has been very gratifying.
Steve, the last time you saw this team, they looked really good. They were in here, they were really dominant. How much does that factor? There's been a lot of basketball since then. Your team is different, but how much does that meeting impact how you approach or view the series?
Well, we looked at that tape plenty. We looked at the tape from December plenty. So all that stuff factors in. Now there's always other factors that were unique to that game or either one of those 2 games. Lineups that you probably won't see during this series for both teams. So things change quite a bit in the playoffs, but I think that game was a really good indicator of how good Boston is defensively. And that was kind of right at the height of their rebound after the new year, where they kicked it into gear and started playing fantastic defense. We felt it that night. They were really good at that end, and so that tape is definitely helpful for us in trying to prepare for them now.
Does that help you with the appropriate fear? Like you don't have to say it as much as because they felt it already.
Anybody who needs to be reminded to have appropriate fear in the NBA finals should just not show up. Like just go home and don't come. I mean, there's no such thing as appropriate fear in the finals. Like this is the NBA finals. So Boston's one of the very best teams in the league, the number 1 defense. We're well aware of how good they are. And the main thing is focusing strategically on what we have to do to try to win and getting everybody healthy and ready to roll.
So I shouldn't show up for game 1 because I don't.
Don't show up. If you don't have it, then watch it on TV. Mic drop.